Welcome. We are warriors. We fight, we endure, we are forged. We deserve to thrive. Release that trauma. Let it go. Don't carry this with you and stain your soul any longer. So, in ancient times, warriors had a labyrinth outside their village. And the warrior, when he got called to battle, would take sword, shield, and spear. He would go to the entrance of the labyrinth. He would place those weapons there, and as he walked in the labyrinth, longer paths and shorter paths, and they're narrow, he would begin to reflect, why is he going to battle? Soon as he returned from battle, he went back to the labyrinth. Before he went back to his community, he placed sword, shield, and spear, and as he entered, he reflected on the thrill of the battle, that pure rage, that joy in battle, and the horror of it all. Who he'd lost, who he'd killed. And when he got to the center of the labyrinth, once again, he dropped to his knees and prayed to his gods. And he left all that there in the middle. And as he walked out, he reflected on, look what I'm coming back to. I'm a father, I'm a husband, I'm a brother, I have a beautiful community. Make a pledge to yourself within. This is who I will be. Because from today, we begin writing a new story. Not a story of deep trauma, not a story of a tragic childhood. A story of strength. A story of being you again. Make that choice in that labyrinth.
I was an infantry officer at Fort Lewis. I did one deployment to Iraq. After serving 5 years, got out of the Army and went into the civilian community, and I really want to be able to help serve other veterans. I didn't realize how much more I needed this than when I came. It was definitely eyes open.
Thank you, sir.
You're welcome.
Thanks.
Warrior Path is an 18-month journey of transformation. What it is not, it's not going to be a one-week program so that you can feel good and go back to old habits. It is not learning how to live with a diminished version of yourself for the rest of your life. There will be no therapy, there will be no coddling, and I do not tolerate a victim.
We're seeing results here today in our Warrior Path programs that are anecdotally about 2 or 3 times better than traditional mental health care for things like PTSD. And the way that works is that when you go to the doctor, you take these little tests and you get scored and rated, and that tells you whether or not you're ill. And quite frankly, I don't believe that. And then you go there and they give you some medication too, because if you got anxiety and depression and you can't sleep, the doctor's way of fixing that is to medicate you.
Number one, someone's told us something's wrong with us, right? Number two, for whatever reason, we've come to believe that.
Gosh, I can't tell you how many people I know that are on anxiety drugs, but then at the same time, like, hey, what are you doing about stress? How do you handle the emotions that you have? And more importantly, how can you let them go?
So what if I propose to you, it's not what's wrong with you, it's what's happened. Talk to me about this, Coach. Let's explore this.
Dr. Charles Hogue is a retired Army colonel, and he's the most published author on PTSD. And he studied it, and he studied why people work and operate the way they do. And he found the same thing. How you've been trained dictates your action. Jeff, is it fair to say that you've been trained to have sharply tuned threat perception and rapid reflexes?
Yes.
Mickey, you've been trained to have attention to detail and minimize mistakes. You were trained to do these things.
Can I?
You may.
I love this. Hyper alert, hypervigilance. Without that, you die. This, major symptoms, PTSD.
You hear post-traumatic stress disorder all over the place, and in and of itself is just a negative connotation. You know, a veteran that might already be down to be, just given pity is not uplifting.
Right, so I'm on this journey around the United States, and I meet this doctor in North Carolina. His name's Richard Tedeschi. And 30 years ago, Rich developed this term called post-traumatic growth. And I said to him, well, okay, I get it, you've researched it, but have you ever trained anybody like how to accomplish it? And he said, no, but I'm all ears. And for the last 18 months, we've been working, thanks to a very generous donor. We got over $1 million to build the nation's first comprehensive curriculum that's focused on post-traumatic growth and teaching the men and women of our armed services how to live a meaning and productive life here at home.
All right. Can I have the staff over here as well, please? You are to greet each horse. You must pick one horse that you believe is most like you. White horse people. It's my 3 white horse people. He was really good. He won a lot of races. Look at these guys smiling now. I knew it. I knew I picked the right one. Yeah, he did pick you.
You're looking like that.
I know.
You're like every time you're like, okay, get away.
You're right. I'm good.
Susie can really read you so well and so quickly, and then tell you, have you ever thought that this might be why? And more importantly now, what are you gonna do about it?
Wonderful. Take him for a walk. Come on, buddy. Come on. Yeah, he's ready to go. So if we're really here for them to help to learn how to reconnect first with themselves and their own well-being and their gifts and their strengths, it would make no sense to teach horsemanship, because then what we're teaching is control, right? Not connection. So this is really, really important that they understand how, and look at this, especially someone like Mickey who believes he has to be in control of everything. And that's his childhood, or it won't happen.
He's walking home.
Well, I didn't know we were going in a certain direction.
Yeah, he's walking straight, but it looks like he's walking you.
There's things in my life and in my childhood that affect me as I became more of an adult and had kids, and it got to the point where I got to do something because it's not getting any better. In fact, I felt like it was getting progressively and more repeatedly worse.
We see men and women who come here with rucksacks that weigh 200 pounds. And there's no human, I don't care how big you are, can carry that kind of weight forever. And we give them a week to dump that rucksack out, repack it, create their new story, set goals to achieve that new story, and go away from here. And for 18 months, we monitor that.
All right, everybody bring your bows up. And draw them back and hold them. Do not let them go. Do not let them go until I tell you to release them. What happens when you hold the stress? Because when you keep holding and you don't take a knee and you don't regulate and you don't do something to reduce the pressure, at some point it will snap. Don't let it go though. Keep holding. Pull it back and hold it. So this is what you've been doing to yourselves until at one point you just collapse.
Tight cord. Me and Jeff's the last one standing, y'all. Come on.
Yeah, sure, my bow's heavy.
All right, put them down.
63 pounds.
Oh.
Actually, it is.
Like I said, this is that metaphor, man. Because you've been holding on for dear life, because you know that at any moment, if you let go, it's all coming unwound. So you got to do something to take care of yourselves.
Every single thing we do in our program has volumes and thousands of pages of research on it. What hasn't been researched and what we're doing now is researching the whole program as a program. So we're not an equine therapy center, but we use horses in 3.5 hours of a 74.5-hour program. We're not a recreational therapy center, but we do recreational therapy. So when we're on the river kayaking, we're having hard conversations. What's holding you back in your life? You know, what can we do? And we're doing this one-on-one. It's really, really kind of a powerful tool and a great way to set it up.
Bring it up over here, fellas.
Envision, if you will, that we're leaving the old self behind. And we start our journey with this guy, the new us. As we prepare to write our new story, moving forward, leaving the old behind. Good to go? I'm always
filling my time. They really pushed me outside of my comfort zone to just sit, shut up, listen in the silence and reflect. That silence for me was huge. They instantly reminded us that, we're trained warriors, we're trained soldiers, and so they reinforced that, hey, you've been forged, that we've really experienced some of the hardest things that people will experience and seen some of the ugliest things. Your struggles and your pains and your weaknesses are in fact your gifts and can only make you stronger.
All right, fellas, we've done a hell of a lot today. All right, we've talked about a lot, we've done a lot, you've engaged, which I appreciate. Everybody appreciates. You've been open, you've been honest. Now we're gonna test your pizza making skills. But it's that connection, right? Now you get the chance to do that, one with each other, with your new fire team. Two, when you go home. My boys, it's one of their favorite things to do. We make pizza and we make pasta from scratch.
It's hard to describe the dark places that people come here in other than their stories, from a gun in their mouth to pill overdoses. So we had a young man here who had told us he was suicidal and had attempted suicide 3 times. Came here reluctantly. I think he told us he turned around 7 times before he drove through the gate. Pretty quiet in the first couple of days, but he ended up thriving in the program. And today, 2 years later, is still thriving. He's got his own business. He's got his own nonprofit. And these are the stories. This is where this gets contagious. And the 2 doctors that are studying this program, they said they've never seen anything like it before.
And you should realize that you have a skill set. You have this gift that has been invested in you and has been taught to you, and you need to use it. So through this whole process, honestly, it's just putting a little bit of new perspective in your life, maybe a little bit more giddy up in your step, and energy to get out there and honestly, a little bit of quit feeling sorry for yourself and start caring more about others.
So welcome to the final ceremony, and we'll lead off with our co-founder and chairman, Ken Falk.
Most people either live in the past or live in the future. To try to live for today and to be a part of this and to be a listener and to be a real buddy, that to me means something. And I used to have this friend of mine who was a SEAL, and every time we'd go out on a free fall operation, the guy would just sweat. I mean, he hated parachuting. And I remember him saying, I feel like every time I jump out of a plane, I kill myself. And I'm the only one that can save my own life. And I remember looking at him once, we were actually in the back of a C-130, and I said, dude, that's what life's about. We're the only ones that can save our own lives. Nobody else can save your life.
We've given you our heart, given you our love. We've tried to share with you our experiences, what we've learned. Thank you for coming home to yourselves.